How's it, everyone? Welcome back to Ease Your Mind, the podcast where we break down big ideas and help you live your best life with clarity and confidence. If you've been with us for a while, you know we focus on mindset, personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself. But today, we're going to switch things up just a little. Why? Because there's a major topic on people's minds right now, and a lot of fear surrounding it. If you've been hearing about the expropriation bill and wondering, can the government really take my land? You're not alone. To add to the panic, US President Donald Trump has thrown his thoughts into the mix, making huge claims that have only escalated concerns. But here's the thing. Fear thrives on misinformation. And today, we're going to clear that up. This episode is all about bringing you the truth so that you can ease your mind, make informed decisions, and stay focused on living your best life. All right, let's dive in. Let's start at the beginning. What is this bill and why is it introduced? So, expropriation simply means the government acquiring private property for public use. This isn't a new or a unique concept. It happens all over the world, even in the US and the UK. Think of when governments need to build roads or schools or hospitals or other public infrastructure. It's a legal process that has always existed, even here in South Africa. Now, why is this bill necessary? You see, South Africa has a painful history of land dispossession, where back in the day, black South Africans were forcibly removed from their land during colonialism and apartheid. Land reform is essential to correct these past injustices and to create a more balanced, inclusive economy. Now, there are some key aspects of the bill. Now, firstly, the bill sets legal guidelines for how and when land can be expropriated. It also ensures that expropriation happens in a structured way, not arbitrarily or unfairly. It outlines that expropriation must be for public interest and cannot be done without due process. Now, there is also this nil compensation clause, right? Or no compensation. It's one of the biggest fears around this bill. And it's the idea of nil compensation or no compensation. Some people think it means the government can just take land without paying for it. I've seen some videos on YouTube already. It's just not true. No compensation or nil compensation applies in very specific cases, such as abandoned land that is not in use, or even state-owned land that is being repurposed for public use. There's also land that was obtained illegally or used for exploitative purposes, and unused land being held for speculation. So when people hold land purely for financial gain without using or developing it. Now, if you are living on your land, actively using it, or legally own it, you are not at risk of losing it unfairly. The bill doesn't override constitutional property protections. Now that we know what the bill is, let's talk about why people are so scared and whether these fears are justified. Now, firstly, there's misinformation, or your fear versus reality. A lot of the panic comes from misinformation. Social media and even some politicians have fueled the idea that this bill is about stealing land from people. But the truth is, expropriation is a legal process that still requires justification and oversight. Then we've also got Donald Trump, who has left some misleading comments and statements. You know, the US President Trump, he's made a statement claiming that South Africa is stealing land from white Afrikaner farmers. But that claim is misleading. South Africa is following a structured legal process under constitutional law, not engaging in these chaotic land seizures. There are international investors, legal analysts, and constitutional experts that have all confirmed that the bill does not threaten private property rights the same way these fearmongers claim. Let's take a look at some of the things that people are saying on social media and, all around us. So, we've seen that the government can take any land it wants, whenever it wants. Expropriation must follow legal processes, and it can be challenged in court. So, myth busted. There's the other one, white farmers are the only targets. The bill applies to all land. Urban, rural, commercial, agricultural, and it is not based on the color of your skin. There will be mass evictions. No one can be removed from their land unfairly. The Constitution protects against unlawful seizures. And then there is the main one we see everywhere, especially from our mates living down under. But yeah, we always hear that this will turn South Africa into Zimbabwe. Look, Zimbabwe's had chaotic land seizures. And unlike those chaotic land seizures, South Africa's approach is legal, it's structured, and it's guided by constitutional principles. Now that we understand the bill and the misinformation surrounding it, let's talk about what we should be doing next. Now, the number one thing we have to do is we have to stay informed, not fearful. We cannot let social media panic dictate how we feel. Read the actual bill, follow reputable experts, and seek out factual information instead of sensationalized headlines. The next thing is you need to know your rights. If you own property, understand your legal protections. The bill does not override property rights. It just clarifies how land reform will be handled. If you have concerns, consult a lawyer. So as long as you know your rights, you will find you have nothing to worry about. And then lastly, engage in constructive conversations. We all know fear divides people. Look at everything happening in the Middle East. Instead of engaging in heated debates fueled by fear, we need to have informed discussions. Understanding the bill is the first step towards meaningful land reform and economic stability. Just a quick note before we go. I am not a legal expert, and this episode is for informational purposes only. If you have specific concerns about your property or your land, I encourage you to do your own research and speak to a qualified legal professional for clarity. Land reform is a complex and emotional topic, but the expropriation bill is not a tool for land grabs. It's an attempt to address past injustices while maintaining economic stability. By staying informed, asking the right questions, and avoiding misinformation, we can all be part of a constructive conversation instead of unnecessary panic. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend. Let's replace fear with facts and keep working towards a balanced and fair South Africa. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, an informed mind is a powerful one. Take it easy.